DJI's Osmo Pocket 3. Sleek, powerful, unheard of resolutions and frame rates, all in such a tiny form factor. This camera could change the world, but it leaves me wondering just one thing. How does it do for real estate video? And much like you, I came to YouTube to try to figure that out. But every single test that I saw on YouTube of this camera doing real estate was in really nice homes with light colored interiors, had tons of natural light and were shot at the perfect time of day. And that's fine, but it's not reality. I mean, at least for me. A lot of the homes I shoot are not exactly HDTV worthy, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes they're small and they're dark and I have to shoot them in lighting conditions that is less than ideal. So today I'm going to be testing this camera out at a cabin here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. This should be a challenge because literally everything is made out of wood. The ceiling, the walls, the floor, everything is made out of wood. And if you've ever shot wooden interiors, it really makes for a dark situation. And plus I'm shooting it at noon, which is probably the worst time to try to shoot a real estate video. All right, so I'm gonna be shooting this in 4K, 60 frames per second, and I'm gonna be using the D-Log picture profile. That way I can get the most amount of dynamic range out of this thing. This also only has a 20mm focal length, which is kind of concerning since most of the wide shots I do for real estate video are at 16mm. But let's give it a go anyway. Honestly, I'm very impressed with these results. I mean, this did compete directly with my R6. However, I just don't feel like it's quite wide enough. And maybe I'm just spoiled because I get to shoot at 16mm on my normal camera, but this being at 20mm feels a little too tight for me in most situations. I even throw on that little lens clip that it comes with, which is a 15mm optical piece of glass. However, when I put that on, it made for incredibly bad barrel distortion. You can see here your vertical lines are incredibly bowed, and honestly, this is pretty unusable footage. But I did really like the fact that you could shoot in vertical mode so easily on this. And even though it's 20mm, it shot very well. I'm honestly very impressed with this. Now, it's still not gonna replace my big camera just because I can't shoot this all the time. All in all, this camera is incredible, honestly. The only downside for me is just the fact that you can't change out lenses to get different focal lengths and you can't get quite wide enough. But if you're in a place where the homes are absolutely ginormous and the rooms are huge, you probably could get away with it. But in my market, that's not very feasible. I have to shoot at 16mm sometimes, and even then, sometimes that's not quite wide enough, I feel. So is it good enough for real estate? I think it is. I mean, for me personally, it's not gonna replace my camera, but I would love to have one for vertical reels for sure. Let me know what you think. Have you tried this camera out? Do you think it's good enough for real estate? Let me know in the comments below. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy learning about real estate photography and videography, go ahead and subscribe for me. That'd be much appreciated. That way you can follow along. That's all I have for now. I'll see you in the next one.